welcome to episode 131 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I am Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And let us start things off by saying a happy belated Batman Day.
Happy birthday, Batman.
Yes, obviously this is coming out on the Tuesday. We're recording on the Sunday, and Batman Day was on the Saturday. So none of those times aligned at all, but a joyous Batman Day to you all. I guess to wrap this up, I would love to know how people celebrated Batman Day.
Yes.
Like I was trying to engage a little bit as much as I could on Twitter or the day of, a little bit of posting on Instagram and Twitter. Put a shout out to all of the really cool friends that we've made. I know you saw the Instagram post. I don't think you saw the Twitter post because you don't do Twitter.
I have not signed on to Twitter in years.
Okay, yeah. So I was trying to figure out what to do for Twitter, and ultimately I decided, like, I think you and I would probably both agree that the coolest part of having done this is like all the cool other podcasts and creatives and just fun people we've met who love the same thing. And so my post is basically just saying Happy Batman Day to all those amazing people. I tagged them in the post because that's really what's been the pleasure of all of this. Beyond the pleasure of your company, Cameron.
Thank you.
Which honestly is number one.
It's like 3 or 4.
That's fair for I can understand. Yeah, the pleasure for you in this podcast is number one, shoehorning Disney conversation into the podcast. Number two, shoehorning Avatar.
I was gonna say anime.
Avatar conversation into the podcast. And somewhere maybe around number 6 or number 7 is having to spend 2 hours a week hanging out with me.
I mean, if it wasn't for driving in West Hollywood, it'd be better.
Fair.
I know Ashley.
Enough.
I mean, you probably want to save this for plugs, but not plugs, for notes from friends. But Ashley sent us a game.
Yes.
Have you ever played DC deck building?
I never have. No.
My friend group in Dallas got super into it.
Really? Okay.
We'd been playing since the first edition came out, DC deck building. For Trey and Jeff, I think you're the only two that still might be listening to this. Jeff, specifically, if you're still listening to this, you ruined this game for me. It's a super strategy game. So it's a new kind of genre of card games that's come out in the past couple of years by this gaming company called Cryptozoic, where instead of starting off with a deck of cards and kind of playing until you're out, it's reverse. So there's a table deck, and everyone starts off with I think 8 to 11 cards, and you use those cards to buy more cards.
Oh, interesting.
And then at the end of the game, it's whoever has the most in their deck usually wins.
I'd be down to try this out at some point.
It is very fun. There's a lot of strategy in it.
Okay. So I'm down to be bad at this game at some point.
I own the first 2 editions. DC deck building has so many now.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do it then.
And there's, Street Fighter deck building, Marvel deck building, Disney deck building. They've expanded to, it's similar to Funko. They've expanded to every franchise by now.
All of them?
Yeah. I think there's like a Walking Dead deck building.
Oh
it's
my God.
too much now.
Hey, good on them.
Yeah.
Get that franchise money.
Oh, yeah. But yes, Ashley, I have played this game. It has ruined parts of my life.
Oh, let's bring it back then.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
Yes.
Excuse me.
But that is a great way to spend your
Batman Day.
Your Batman Day is playing DC deck building.
All right. Well, we'll do it at some point. We do have a little bit of news to cover real quick. Relatively light on the news this week.
But one big piece of news.
One big piece of news. So we'll
something we've been wanting to say for a while.
I know. So we'll do the slightly less exciting piece of news first. I just got to bring it up here. So DC Animation has revealed the first look at their Superman Red Sun adaptation.
Great.
Here's the photo. Looking pretty good.
He's got a little hair coif.
Yeah, he's got a little coif. I mean, I hate to make generalizations, but I'm going to. I like the fact that this is one of their one-off films, not one of their new 52 verse.
Yeah, we've been very vocal about this.
I know, and I don't want to feel like I'm just beating a dead flat horse, but I'm excited when they do kind of the more one-off things. And I feel like they do slightly more interesting casting.
When's the last time they did one-off? Not counting like Batman Ninja.
I was like maybe Gotham by Gaslight, which that one was,
okay.
I liked that one. That
was recent.
That was pretty
good. My first thought was Flashpoint.
No, Flashpoint's part of the
Is it
52 verse? Yeah.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best one of the 52 verse then.
Yeah.
Flashpoint's amazing.
Definitively. But I think part of the fun of these other ones is they tend to bring in more interesting casting. So we have Jason Isaacs as the voice of Superman.
Okay.
Do you know who that is? Lucius
Yes.
Malfoy in Harry Potter.
Okay.
And he's in tons and tons of stuff. He's one of those guys that just pops up everywhere. But is it my turn this time? Am I the one hitting?
Yes, I'm gonna take that cushion away from you.
Did you like that I included your tap pillow in the
I
Batman
did.
Day post?
Yeah, so everyone knows what he's always threatening to take away from me.
It's the Batman pillow that you're constantly hitting. That was my turn. The great Dietrich Bader, who of course is our Zeta currently, but also Batman and Brave and the Bold, will be voicing Lex Luthor.
Great.
And then we have Amy Acker, who is a Whedon alum, voicing Lois Lane.
I honestly thought you were about to say Amy Adams, and I'm like, how did that happen?
I know, right? Came back around. Vanessa Marshall.
They put a lot of money in Lois.
Right. Vanessa Marshall, who's a well-known voice actress. She did Captain Syndulla, Hera Syndulla on Rebels.
Okay.
She's going to be Wonder Woman. Phil Morris as James Olsen, Paul Williams as Brainiac, Sasha Ruiz as Hal Jordan, and Phil Lamar, the great Phil Lamar, as Jon Stewart once again. And
Yay!
Then, Roger Craig Smith, who voiced Batman in Batman Ninja and Batman Arkham Origins, will be Batman in the movie. You've read Red Sun, correct?
I have read Red Sun.
It's a great story.
It's very good.
I think
Superman's a dick.
I mean, kind of. I think part of the reason that story is so good is it fundamentally understands the character and
Yes.
puts them in a different situation. It's sort of the opposite of a lot of my complaints about like the film adaptations, where it's like they don't fundamentally understand the characters. The changes they make seem like just shallow and stupid. Whereas this is like that cool idea of like, oh, let's take this cool spin on it. But no, I'm excited for this one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But the other thing in piece of news, the one we're really excited to say,
Also Superman news.
all Superman news, something that has been rumored for a long time, and we are very, very excited it's actually going to happen. Cameron, why don't you say? Because I feel like you're even more excited than I am.
Smallville is joining the CW verse.
Yep.
We got Tom Welling
Yes.
as Superman, as our boy Superman, joining the Crisis.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, I can call it a series. There's 6 episodes.
Is it 5
episodes.
I think it's 5. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Well,
This is gonna be
you
amazing.
missed possibly the even better part of the news
Wait, I forgot already.
that Erica Durance is returning also as Lois Lane.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, our favorite Lois
Mm-hmm.
is coming back. So, look, I mean, I'm super excited about this. I feel like the Arrowverse has gotten so big that both of us have abandoned it years ago. But I did watch the last.
The crossovers
Crisis.
are always great.
The crossover was pretty good. I watched the last Crisis and it was pretty solid. And then I'm super.
The last
super
one
excited
was
for this.
where they switched roles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think I watched the first episode and then got distracted.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. But like, I mean, this is huge. Like, they're basically pulling from all these crazy places. I know I can't even remember some of the other casting announcements they've made, but I know they've been making quite a few. Now we just gotta wait and see if maybe they'll get Michael Rosenbaum back as Lex Luthor, which I would love that so
That
much.
would be
That
so
is
good.
pure speculation and hope on my part. I would love it if it happens. But we don't know, but I mean, this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, they have. I think they learned that like the not older fan base, but part of the fan base is starting to drift, and this is their power play of like,
Yeah.
you guys want a surprise, you want a twist. Here's your twist.
It's gonna be so good.
Just more fan service.
Now the real question. Oh, right, I forgot. The other thing that was super exciting was that Brandon Routh was going to be in it, of course, as Kingdom Come Superman. Now, the thing that I'm curious to see is, will we be getting Tom Welling in a Superman suit? Something that they actually avoided doing.
until the last minute.
Yeah, and even then, like, they never show like the rule for the show is always like no tights, no flight. So even we never actually got like a full body shot of Tom Welling wearing the suit. We just got like the reveal shot in the very last moment, and then we got some like long distance CGI shots of him in the suit.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't know if it's gonna pick up right where that left off.
Yeah.
If there's been a time jump.
I would imagine there'd be some sort of time jump because, I mean,
Has he
I
retired?
mean, they've both aged a little bit. I mean, they both look good, obviously, but
Yeah.
you know, like I think you have to acknowledge the fact that like some time has passed. But I mean, this is pretty crazy. Like all the different things they're pulling from. I think it's gonna be a really good thing.
I know. I'm excited. They've got me back on board.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, that was kind of all of it for news this week.
Yeah,
sadly.
I can't think of anything.
No. So shall we get into Zeta? Get an early start on Zeta this week. Now, you said before we started recording that you now have a new contender for your least favorite episode
This
of Zeta.
was
Can I guess which
so
one it is?
Bad. It's hard to miss.
I mean, it's the Eye of the Storm, right? It's the tornado.
This was
it's the tornado
so
one.
bad.
It's okay. It is.
Holy shit! How was this a full episode?
It's particularly bad. The whole idea is,
As someone from Kansas, momentarily, this was insulting.
the whole idea is that they're passing through somewhere in the middle of the country.
They do say Kansas.
They do say Kansas. Okay, so passing through Kansas, they stop off to recharge their electric car at a fill station and realize there are tornadoes hitting. And then
Not just one tornado.
it's multiple tornadoes.
Three tornadoes are hitting.
They come across these young brothers. The younger one is what's his bucket? What's his name? I wrote it down here. Carl. Carl is the engineer. He's designed this system that basically like zaps tornadoes into going away. And his older brother, Dex?
I just refer to them as the science brother and the cocky brother.
The cocky brother. The cocky brother then pilots this little capsule into the hurricane and zaps them until they disappear. The one kind of fun thing is the brothers are voiced by Joey and Andrew Lawrence.
I don't. Oh, that is cool, actually.
Yeah, see?
Damn it.
See? Something I knew even you would appreciate about this.
God damn it, DComs.
Talk about just, a blast from the past there in terms of some voice performances. But I love that was what was going on there.
Oh, Joey Lawrence.
Oh, Joey Lawrence. But which one was the super hot one? Let me look these up again.
The other one.
But because it was Matthew, Joey, and Andrew.
I think Matthew was the one in Boy Meets World.
Okay, here we go. Here's of the time. So, Joey was the oldest.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was on Boy Meets World, right?
Let me see the photo. They all look so similar. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh fuck.
Matthew was in Horse Sense.
Matthew was in Mrs. Doubtfire, right?
Sure.
Let me look up Matthew. I think Matthew's a super hot one. Yes, Matthew Lawrence was the dreamboat, one of the dreamboats of the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hello.
Okay. This episode Wait,
are we done talking about how hot Matthew Lawrence is?
I want to talk about how bad this episode is.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I will give you that by order of magnitude, this episode is worse than Matthew Lawrence is hot, so we can talk about it.
Yes.
That's good, though.
So, yeah, you out of nowhere, you have these storm chasers, the smart brother and the cocky brother, trying to use science to kind of just destroy a tornado. They don't really give like a scientific term for it.
Stop tornadoes, basically, yeah.
They fail the first time. Zeta comes out and he's like, oh, well, this is how you fix it. And you'd think that's the episode right there. But no, we got 2 more tornadoes to deal with.
No, because the younger brother is jealous. Nerdy brother is cocky of arrogant brother. Cocky brother.
They also use younger brother and older brother as insults for each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, little bro.
I hate when you call me that. Because I thought like maybe he's the older brother, but the other, maybe he's taller or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
Big bro versus older bro. But yeah, the younger brother is jealous, and so he decides he's gonna fly the capsule into the storm because he can do it. But it's a super crazy storm, and everything's getting blown away. And Zeta has to go into the storm and jump into the capsule and save the brother because he like scratched his arm and couldn't continue to operate the machine anymore.
Yep. And that was it.
That's pretty much it.
And that was the whole episode.
It's particularly stupid. I did think it was funny because I was bringing up the DCAU wiki pages before I started watching them, and it just has a list of the villains of this episode is just tornadoes.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. There's no villain. They found a way to make this show even more passive.
So okay, I will.
We've had episodes where Mother Nature was the villain.
Yeah. I will give this episode credit for one thing, and you will probably not disagree with me. I thought
they didn't make the tornado sentient.
No, I mean that would have been amazing. I think the animation's actually pretty good.
I honestly was so upset with the episode I didn't even notice.
Okay, I it might be repetitive, but I thought that their animation for the tornadoes themselves looked pretty good. There was like one shot they did where they were more or less like looking straight up into the storm, and the rain was coming towards the screen, which actually looked kind of pretty. But I mean, enough for me to stop and notice that it was pretty good.
Okay.
But this is also an episode where a hover car has a surprising amount of tire squeal, which I was particularly baffled by. I think, okay, there were, beyond just like the general bad concept here, one thing that really bothered me about this episode was how they approached like the lesson to be learned. So they put the nerdy brother, so the one who's like not getting credit and who's like doing everything right, but
So the the way the device works is they have two stations. So they have the main car, which is kind of the hover
van.
Yeah, it's like a hover van that locks itself into the ground, and that's kind of the home base. That's the control panel for the second pod that pops out of the van, and that flies around the tornado and kind of shoots it with lasers until it dissipates.
Yeah.
So the cocky brother flies the craft,
The pod.
and the smart brother stays inside the control room.
Yeah, and the smart brother is just really upset that he's not getting any sort of credit, and the cocky brother is like stealing all the limelight.
I mean, honestly, welcome to the real world.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that was my problem, was that the nerdy brother is then put in the role of being the antagonist, because he's the one that decides he's going to go do it all on his own and prove everyone wrong. And that character moment didn't really feel natural. Like, I got that he was jealous, but I wanted to see kind of the opposite happen. Like, I wanted to see the cocky brother get put in a situation he couldn't handle anymore, and the nerdy brother had to come in and save him. I feel like that would have been the better lesson to be learned, because the cocky brother was the one that had to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
But they structured the episode so that the nerdy
Science
brother
isn't cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, science isn't cool, and then nerdy brother becomes like the motivating factor for like the climax and like the resolution for everybody, and like, oh, they learn how to appreciate each other and like share the spotlight and, you know, acknowledge each other's contributions. But it's basically like the younger brother also having to learn that the cocky brother has something to contribute. And I was like, that was a weird place to go with it.
That's a story beat that, I mean, that's a trope that we see that everywhere.
Yeah.
You have it at the diner where the nerdy brother kind of like voices his frustration, being like, hey, so like you're taking all the credit, but like, you know, you couldn't have done this without me. Like, you know, you should bring me up in interviews, and like, you know, we should share the technology.
Yeah.
And the cocky brother being like, no, I don't need you. You didn't do anything. And then he goes out to prove him wrong. Be like, I can do this on my own. And then the cocky brother gets caught in the storm. But then the problem is we have no need for Zeta anymore.
I mean,
because then the smart
we
don't. This whole episode could have been done without Zeta.
But okay.
Especially Ro. Ro
Okay.
had no reason to be in this episode.
She never like. Did she even drive the van at any point? Like, I don't know. She doesn't do anything. But I will say that if they had done that route, if they had the cocky brother up in the capsule trying to do it on his own without any sort of help, they could have had Zeta have to transport the nerdy brother up to the capsule to save him. Was the thing. It's like, oh, only I know how to work the system. Like, even Zeta, like, as smart as you are, like, you know, I built this thing from scratch. Like, it's, you know, no one knows how it works because nothing else like exists. Like, I need you to get me up there. And then I think that would have added some stakes for when Zeta goes, like, has to go into the storm to go up to the capsule, because not only him having to get up there, but it's him having to protect someone at the same time as trying to navigate this crazy space. I think that would have been a little more interesting way to approach it.
Yeah.
Just like from a thematic
Anything
perspective.
would have been more interesting than what
Anything
we
would have
got.
been more interesting. Yeah, just from a thematic perspective, I think from a character and a stakes perspective and an action perspective, that all would have been a bit more interesting.
Well, so we had that, and then talking back on Zeta and Ro, they tried to set it up where like the cocky brother was hanging out with Ro.
Oh yeah, and
then,
like flirting with her super
yeah,
hardcore.
and the smart one was hanging out with Zeta, and they, definitely could have played into that so much more. I mean, you could have had Ro attracted to him.
Yeah,
and then they could have been like, you know, action gets things done. Like you gotta you got to be the person who takes that first step, or else nothing's going to get done.
Yeah, leap before you look, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and then Ro agreeing with him, and then she could have been in the capsule too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Have something where it even their relationship creates such a divide between Ro and Zeta.
Oh, I see. Yeah, like if maybe there was something in the opening sequence where Ro leaps into action before thinking,
And Zeta
Zeta's
grabs her.
yeah,
or something.
and Zeta's like, oh, you need to think before you act. She's like, well, you need to just act. Like sometimes,
you never get anything done.
Yeah, you wait too long. Like without without me, you would just stand around and do nothing, and then introduce the pairing of them and have it be where the like pairs are stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Zeta and the nerdy brother have all the knowledge, but not the inclination to act.
Mm-hmm.
And the other two, the
Ro
and the cocky brother, don't know how to get themselves out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would have been much more interesting.
Yeah. God, this episode is so bad.
One other thing that kind of bothered me too, and you actually having been from Kansas, maybe you can corroborate this, but I feel like the world they showed in this episode doesn't exist. Like this super, like, so this is supposed to be in 2040 something, right? Maddie, you can tell us exactly when. I think even the next episode says like 2044 or something like that. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it's set another 20 some odd years in the future from now.
Yeah.
40 years in the future from when the show aired. I feel like even when the show aired, Kansas didn't look like that. Of just like emptiness with like the occasional gas station and an old-fashioned diner.
I mean, there is a lot of that in Kansas.
Okay. Is that still the case in Kansas?
I mean, it depends on what part you're in.
Okay.
Because, yeah, Kansas is a farming state.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is small town stuff. Like my roommate in college, Ian, he lived in like a bigger small city, but still, these are the people where you hear like, oh, we have one traffic light, and the big thing that happened in my 18 years is we got a Wendy's. Jeez. Like those cities exist.
That's so sad.
Right.
I'm sorry if listeners live in those sort of spaces. We're very biased living in Los Angeles.
We are very biased. But no, like those definitely exist.
But so specifically what was bothering me was, okay, so you got Phillips stations, you got random diners or whatever, but also there are so many random derelict buildings and like old barns and stuff like that. Like, why are these two guys like using seemingly a barn as a base of operations, more or less, chasing tornadoes when all the structures there around get completely wrecked by the tornadoes within an instant?
My thing is, if you're living this deep in Tornado Alley, and you're never going to be in a place where 3 tornadoes happen in one day.
No.
Why is there civilization here
At all?
Yeah. If 3, and there's, because before this day, they've never had anything to stop the tornadoes. Why are you building anything above ground?
Yeah.
This whole city should be underground.
And like, was one of them supposed to be some sort of like crazy super tornado? Because I feel like by the time we got to the end, the thing was literally just like pulling fully brick and mortar structures off the ground and throwing them through the air.
And that's kind of also what they missed about the dangers of being inside a tornado, is the brother was so nonchalant about like, ow, I have a cut on my arm.
People die.
People die because of the debris inside. So like the panic should have been not that they needed to dissipate the tornado from the inside. It should have been that their pod is being ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
By even, just like pellets of sand moving it
Crazy
700 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Ripping your, scraping all the metal off. Like you're in a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
And also you're very dizzy.
Oh my God,
they didn't play into that even a little bit.
No one got nauseous. No one like threw up. That's like such a kids show thing too. Like, oh, I don't feel so good. Blah.
Yeah. And they kind of touched on it when they stopped the first tornado. He's like, I'm glad that I skipped lunch. Like, no, you were trapped in a tornado.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
The worst one yet?
In my opinion, I've blocked out a lot of the early episodes.
I've forgotten a lot of this as well.
But of season 2, this is definitely the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you actually have any other notes?
Let me see. I can go over
I feel like
about.
you haven't even looked at your notes yet. You've just been like remembering things off the top of your head that you hated and just talking about it.
I was really hoping this episode was when we were gonna learn Zeta isn't waterproof.
No, that's the next episode.
Yeah, I think it could have been interesting if they played into Storm Chaser culture.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was where this was heading.
Yeah, it's like I mean, Twister had already been out for a few years when this came out, but you feel like that they were riffing off that. Like you feel like the writer like watched Twister that weekend was like, maybe.
Yeah, but
Maybe
even then,
there.
if you wanted to go into think before you act or act before you think, when they saw the car, the hover car chasing the tornado, Ro could have been like, Zeta, go out and stop him.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't do it herself, but she was telling Zeta to take that first step, and he was refusing.
Yeah.
And then they got hurt.
Could have been more interesting.
Do you want to know why Tornado Alley exists and
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I do actually.
It's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
So we have this very specific climate setup in that strip in the Midwest because you have the warm wind coming northwest from the Gulf of Mexico, which is meeting the cold air going southeast from the Rocky Mountains.
Okay.
And it hits directly above Kansas.
Oh, interesting.
Kansas, Missouri area.
Yeah.
And so that's why that area gets the worst tornadoes. It's like it's such a perfect blend of hot and cold air, and that's why we have Tornado Alley. And there's other pockets like that in the world, but for some reason we just have that perfect, like the perfect equation for both, where it hits that section harder than any place in the world.
Given that it's this perfect balance of hot air and cold air, is anyone ever called like Goldilocks zone?
I don't get the reference. What are you?
No.
No.
Moving on.
Nope.
Um,
We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
no. But no, that's interesting. I did not know that was why that was the case. Oh, okay. I don't know. I really don't have much to say on this episode. It was just
It was just a bad episode.
it was just kind of bad.
Yeah.
So
I don't
should
know.
we move on?
Is there any way you would want to try and fix this episode?
I feel like we covered it.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Quality time.
Moving swiftly along. Look
We
at us,
are.
so brisk. I don't think we've ever been on the second episode by 30 minutes ever.
We'll pad this. Don't worry.
But yeah, we'll find a way. Quality time.
This was a great premise that I think was executed just okay.
What element of it did you thought? Did you thought? Did you thought?
I am a thought.
Was a good idea.
Putting Bennet in a scenario where he had to compromise the value that we've seen him so far.
Yeah.
His sole purpose in these 20 episodes we've watched so far is he will catch Zeta no matter the cost.
Yeah, except for firing Agent West.
Except for firing Agent West.
Happy to fire Agent Lee.
Yeah.
I know she quit, I guess,
She
technically.
did quit, yeah. There's no means he wouldn't cross. I mean, he hacked into his own agency to get information.
That's true, yeah.
Like he's willing to sacrifice his job, the thing that we've seen so far he cares about more than anything, in order to catch Zeta.
Yeah.
And so we put him in a position where he now has to make the ultimate choice of family versus Zeta, his mission.
Yeah, because the whole plot here is that there's some...
It's great that we can add bad NSA agent, or bad dad to
Oh,
the
yeah, it's
list
true.
of
You can
bad...
have Bennet to our list of bad DCAU parents. But basically, both Zeta and Bennet are trying to track down Dr. Selig. Anything involving him is classified to such a high degree that even Bennet doesn't have access.
Except now he also kind of does.
He kind of does. It's weird, I know. But he's able to figure out that basically an email came out of a Marine Institute to Selig recently. Zeta discovered the same thing. So they both go there at the same time to talk to this biologist there. And apparently Selig is interested in the kind of animals that can regrow parts of their bodies. So in this case, like a starfish. And we're wondering, like, well, what does a roboticist want to do with that? I bet we'll probably not find out at some point because that was probably a long-term strategy that didn't pay out.
What do you think it would have been?
Maybe some sort of like techno-organic robot. Maybe like Terminator space, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. I was thinking Brainiac or Starro.
Oh, but they won't. But there's so few references to the broader.
Yeah.
That's actually...
We did get a Shui this episode.
We got a Shui.
We did get a Shui.
Hang on, that's something worth noting. Other than the appearance of Batman in this, no one ever talks about superheroes in this world.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if we've ever even talked about that fact.
I mean, in the last episode, they were so calm when they saw a robot.
Yeah.
They were so calm. They're like, oh, a synthoid. Cool.
But, you know, I mean, at this point, Batman and Superman had both aired. And
we know
a version of Justice League existed in Batman Beyond.
Exactly.
So you would kind of feel like at some point someone would acknowledge the fact that superheroes exist. Now, there could have been like a licensing issue.
Yeah, maybe it's not in the Midwest.
Maybe they just, there's no superheroes in the Midwest.
Right, yeah.
They all go to the coasts.
Exactly.
I mean,
even Kansas.
Superman did.
Yeah.
So, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, but so they both go to talk to the marine biologist there, and essentially Ro is flirting with like the teenager who works the place and drives the submarine.
I think his name's Brett.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that.
Let's call him Brett. And
Yeah.
so she decides to go for a ride the submarine, and then Bennet forces Brett to take his son along in a flagrant abuse of power.
Oh, yeah.
On the ride as well. And
Entitled parent through and through.
Yeah, and then basically Ro and...
Also, there's only 2 people working at this institute. Like, where they have 2 pods and 2 employees, and both pods hold 2 people.
Yeah. Where's
Why do
the
they-
other pilot? The kid even says, like, him and someone else pilot the thing.
Yeah. I'm like, well, why do they even need the second pod?
Yeah, or why not get one of the professionals to drive the damn thing?
Exactly.
Rather than like the random summer hire. But random summer hire is too busy, like, being upset that Ro and Bennett's kid James aren't
Trying
having
to
a fun
hook up
time.
with someone at the bottom of the ocean.
I mean, I totally would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's anything for a story.
There's only so much oxygen. That's hot.
Yeah, it's very hot. Yeah, get lightheaded. But they crash the submarine and it
Hold
starts...
on. So there's a sign outside of the metal reef.
So this is the other weird thing. It seems like someone built an artificial coral reef down there that is rusting.
There was a sign outside of it that said danger.
Do not enter coral reef.
Yes.
Unstable.
But there was nothing dangerous about it except that Brett was a bad pilot.
Yeah.
You call submarine drivers pilots?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's say it is.
I put a question mark in my notes about it.
I'm so glad you were thorough.
Yeah. If he was just paying attention, there was no danger about it.
There was no problem. And I don't know if like them crashing into it then made the whole structure a little more unstable, which is why pieces of it were falling off later when Bennet and Zeta went down to recover everybody. But it definitely felt odd. I mean, it was kind of a cool... That part of it, the futurism element was kind of interesting. The idea that they built this kind of like... almost like a massive buckyball style structure to generate an artificial reef. That's a real thing. Like artificial reefs happen all the time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that's what they would do. But one would imagine they would have built it a little bit sturdier.
Right. And I don't know how, like you said, why is it rusting?
Why would
Is it a metal? I mean, it must be a metal reef.
Well, yeah, but like there, are some metals that don't rust.
Do you think the architect misheard them and heard wreath? And he's like, I don't know why they want a giant Christmas wreath under the ocean, but I guess.
And why do they want it made out of metal? But all right.
Yeah, I guess we'll go with that.
I like that idea. But the whole thing basically starts falling apart.
I thought you said
Weast. The whole thing starts falling apart, and Zeta and Bennet have to like team up together to go down and save Ro and the kid. I mean, and this idea has been done a lot. This is pretty common in kids shows.
Yeah.
Did you think this is in terms of an execution of the concept? How did you feel about it?
I think they just did it okay. I think there was so much they could have added more interesting stakes. Specifically, I very much disliked the way Bennet learned Zeta was there by just turning around and seeing Zeta.
Yeah, right. What? Zeta's here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no real detective work on his part.
Mm-hmm. I did. I think there could have been more interesting interaction between Ro and the son. Mm-hmm. I did really enjoy their bonding over how much they hated Bennet.
Yes, he's such a schmuck.
Yeah. He's like, well, you get to see him, the kid complaining that his dad's a workaholic. Like, you get to see my dad more than I do. It's like, well, we don't want to see your dad.
Yeah, he's an asshole that won't leave us alone.
Yeah, so that was cute.
In terms of annoying children, because this show specializes them, how was this one?
He wasn't that bad. I mean, there was nothing he did that caused the problem.
Yeah, he was a little whiny, but he wasn't like...
Which in my boat puts you, leaps and bounds above the other kids in the show. Because usually they're the reason that shit's going down.
Mostly Bucky.
Mostly fucking Bucky. He has the same hair.
That's true, he does.
So there must
that's
be
the style of that time.
There must be some teen idol, some new Justin Bieber.
Wasn't there was that also the kid who like threw a glass of lemonade at his service bot? Mm-hmm. Didn't he have the same hair too?
I think so.
Yeah. It's the style, man.
Yeah. We continue to learn that Zeta is waterproof as he dives down to the ocean.
Yep. And that these tiny little 2-man submarines that also have enough room for like 3 other people have built in.
It's only 2-man because they only put in 2 seats.
There's only 2 seats, but they have a built-in airlock.
Yeah.
On both of them. Okay. I can't imagine that space is that deep they're going to.
Right.
It's like you could
because they got down there pretty quick.
You could just scuba dive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean Zeta could have just jumped in.
Yeah, absolutely true. Because he already had to get out. Not like the depth was so much that it would crush him. Mm-hmm. That'd be super, super deep one. But yeah, he could have just like dove down there and like grabbed it and brought it back up.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
But
I guess Bennet wouldn't let him leave.
Right. So that was my other thing is I did like Bennet having to make any potential reason to distrust Zeta.
Yeah.
So, when they're in the control room being like, you trapped my son down there. He's like, well, who made you put your son in that pod? And Bennet having to come to the realization of like, fuck, I put him in there. Like, I forced him in there. He's like, but no, Zeta, you mind controlled me. Bennet is so, he wants to believe so hard that Zeta is still bad. And he even says to him, like, the reason I chase you down, the reason I want to capture you is you make the world a worse place in my eyes.
Yeah, he's a danger and he wants to make the world safer for his kid.
Mm-hmm.
Which like makes sense that he would want to do that for his kid, but it doesn't make sense given that he's seen so much evidence to support the fact that Zeta is not bad. Now, I guess...
Well, he's never actually seen the evidence. It kind of happens in his blind spots.
I feel like there's at least once or twice he saw like Zeta save somebody. But
no, I think Lee's the only one that's seen it, and that's why Lee had the change of heart.
Right. But also there was that moment in the season 2 premiere where they discovered that there's some weird subroutine going on inside of Zeta, and you don't know what that is. So
that's right.
Bennet still has that thing to hold on to.
That's totally. I forgot about that.
Because I think they forgot about it. Even if you are what you say you are, you still can't be trusted, which is exactly what he told in that episode. I mean, I guess it didn't really make sense for them to bring that back here because this show is still structured very much in the episodic format, where it's like they'll introduce something and then they'll bring it around again in the finale, but every episode in the middle is just a one-off. So it makes sense that they wouldn't be bringing that sort of idea back in here.
If they did bring that in here, how would you want them to use it?
I think I just would have wanted a reference of Zeta being like you see me save people, like, or even say like, why would I go out of my way to save someone if I was still trying to kill people? It's like, look, even if you say you've had a change of heart, you still can't be trusted. Mm-hmm. We don't know what happened to you that made you this way. Like, even without having to like specifically call back that piece of information, it could have simply been, even if you say you are what you are, that's not how you were programmed. So there is something wrong with you, and you are ultimately a malfunctioning machine, and you can't be trusted.
Yeah.
I think that would have been enough to make it happen.
I think it would have probably added too many story beats. But here's my idea.
Make it a 2-part episode.
Make it a 3-part episode.
Make it a film spinoff.
Yeah. I think you start that at the beginning of the season. There's something inside your head that you don't know about. Mm-hmm. You kind of sprinkle that in over the next few episodes, and then this one, when they go into the reef, they're going in to look at something cool. Like there's something specific that Brett is trying to show them. Like, there was this doctor in here who, is obviously Selig. And I saw him and the doctor. They were looking at something really cool right here. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not supposed to see it, but let's go check it out.
Giant octopus.
So for sake of example, we'll just say it's like a giant emerald or something.
Yeah.
Just for an easy example. And now they're stuck down there. They're next to whatever thing it was. Zeta goes down. He's fully in control of himself still until the second he sees whatever the thing is. And we don't have to see it on screen, but have some indication of like he has a second programming that's now taking over, and he like has to get it, pick it up, destroy it, something.
There's a MacGuffin that triggers some sort of programming defaults in his brain. Oh, that could be interesting.
And so we'll say he has to take it. You don't see it on screen, but like as they save the two kids, they start floating out of the water. You have the camera pan, and now the thing is missing.
Yeah.
And now you're like, and now it's like, oh well, what? How did the wind take it? It's like, obviously Zeta has it, but now you have a mystery element of like, when did Zeta take it? Why did Zeta take it? Does Bennet know? You can add in a whole nother layer to the character, and now you have a better reason for Bennet to still be
an active reason for him to distrust Zeta rather than a passive one.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would make it more interesting.
And then that ups the stakes of like, well, now we have to get to Selig because he's the only one that knows what's like. Now there's an urgency of like, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I've gone against my current programming, and now I'm a threat.
Yeah.
Like now I get Bennett's perspective, but I don't want to be shut down.
Right. That would have made it much more interesting. Yeah.
And it was Bucky all along who had been controlling him.
Bucky. Yeah, I mean, because there is some good stuff in here. Like, I swear, I think that the writers were probably fans of the Thunderbirds from the 60s. Like, the last two episodes are both like kind of like natural disaster rescue situations. I mean, there's some good stuff in here. I like that they at least were introducing a slightly complicated character dynamic between Zeta and Bennet. I like anything underwater. Just love any sort of underwater animation. I think it looks super cool. I love submarines. I liked all that stuff down there.
They're just in the tide pool.
They're in like a lagoon practically. Some of their logic didn't really make sense. The idea that Zeta would get out of the good submarine to be a manual rudder for the bad submarine.
It's kind of like 2 minutes of just padding.
Yeah, and then what is it? Bennet insisted on staying in the bad sub because he didn't want to let Zeta out of his sight, but his son refused to get separated from the dad again. So the two of them get in the bad sub so that Ro and conked out summer hire Brett can just drive off in the good sub. All of that just didn't make quite a lot of sense. I get the idea that now Bennet has to actually put his life and his son's life in Zeta's hands. And then a random piece of the thing falls off and knocks Zeta away, and the sub continues to fill with water, but then Zeta just turns around and comes back and like just shoves it up to the surface, and then we're done.
I looked at the time code because I love to see how much time I have left of this torture.
Right.
The commercial break, because I mean it was a fade to black, so I assume there might have been a commercial there.
Yeah.
There was a minute and a half of the episode left.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
I'd be furious as a child.
They love to do that. I mean, it just shows that for whatever reason, this show I don't think was given room to breathe. And I think you see that a lot in the weird pacing of the episodes. They feel like they're building towards something and then they don't. And it's a shame because there have been a number of times we've had interesting scenarios pop up and we've come up with like better ways you could have approached it. There's always potential here. I think there's potential in this one. It just and then they get to the end and Zeta and Ro are running away, and Bennet basically decides he can either shoot at Zeta from a distance or like help his son get off of a perfectly stable floating submarine.
Yeah, he's already safe. He's up at
perfectly fine. But I mean, I guess the idea is like, I gotta put my son first.
Here's my logic question for you. Not to oversight the team and what they looked at already. There's an airlock in a sub.
Yeah.
That means there must be some sort of suit or
this is a very good point. Some sort of diving gear.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't need the second sub. They have to have at least one thing of air.
Yeah.
Because they have one person in the tank and one person out.
Yeah.
So and they know they can fit 3 people in. So Bennet take the oxygen tank, put the 3 people in the new sub, and then he can stay attached to Zeta the whole time.
Yeah. That would have worked.
Right.
God damn it. I mean, bless their hearts, they were trying.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, this was a great idea. They could have done a lot of cool stuff with this. They just executed just okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It was kind of like, meh.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Zeta and Ro get away. And
As always.
maybe the next time we see Bennet, he'll be slightly softer on Zeta, but probably still insist on trying to bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I know. Well, no, I think if they were to do this next time, because I don't know if Bennet, I assume Bennett's going to come back. I think we should have his boss come back. And now there were witnesses to Bennet letting him go. Witnesses that also know Selig.
Yeah.
And Selig is obviously still a higher ranking person than him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you let a death robot chase after a superior, continue to get away after a superior, and now he's being reprimanded for it.
That would make it more interesting. Well, there you go. There's the starting point for your second part of this episode,
Part 2.
Cameron. Part 2.
Yep.
Selig's revenge.
Selig is actually a giant starfish.
I'd be on board. Mm-hmm. I'd be so on board.
And
with
he's a starfish who forgot how to regenerate, so he's studying his brothers.
Yep. So I can learn.
Yes.
I don't know. Any other thoughts on this, really?
Not really. These are both just meh episodes.
I know. Well, it's fine. We can go along to some notes.
Let's see.
From
We got a
friends
Shui.
here.
That was pretty exciting. Bennett's not only a bad spot, he's also a bad dad. I love that because he tells his son, like, oh, let's go on vacation together. In Bennett's mind at this point, Zeta is still the biggest national threat. And he's just casually bringing his son into the line of fire.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's just go take a day off here.
Yeah, let's add that to the list of bad dad things. Oh, when Ro is like, oh, I know, I watched him drive this. I can drive a submarine now. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, they hire just random dudes off the street in the summer.
That
anyone can drive these damn things.
You're right. I take that back. That's pretty much my notes.
Yeah, seems fair. All right, so let's do kind of a quick little notes from friends section. So both Ashley Clark and then also my friend Ted commented on the fact they both just watched Hush. And Ashley said that she didn't really like the Riddler change. I guess we're going full spoilers here on Hush. But the twist at the end, she's like, not everything needs a twist ending. And talking with Ted, he kind of felt the same way. Now, I actually liked the fact they did something different, so it wasn't just a straight adaptation. I don't know, like in hindsight, how do you still feel about the way they handled the end of Hush?
Well, it's been a few weeks now since I remember watching it, and I remember I liked it because they needed some other thing to do besides tee up Jason, yeah,
they
tee up Red Hood.
They couldn't use him as a red herring anymore.
Mm-hmm. So I think this was an interesting way to do it. My bigger concern with this was how much they cut out
Tommy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, maybe he could have been in there somewhere at the end. I think no matter what, with these stories, I think it's always going to be a twist.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that's kind of the essence of mysteries is mysteries.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of twist, and like I guess it's weird because I feel like when they did Hush, it's almost like they did that to deliberately throw off the fans a little bit. Like you imagine, obviously, people who haven't read the comic will watch the movie, so to them, the Riddler twist would be just as shocking as the Tommy twist, I guess, or maybe the Tommy would have been more expected because it's always like the new character you introduce.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do more of a red herring setup. Like they never really even go down the path of Tommy possibly being the one that did it.
Right. Well, because he's in 3 scenes, then he's dead.
Yeah, and you almost kind of wonder like if there was something maybe was supposed to happen around the time of them digging up the body, and like you almost need like a beat after the body's dug up where Bruce goes like, he's still alive. Like it's all been a ruse. Like someone is trying. I don't know. Like you had to like tee up towards him thinking that's what was going on maybe before doing the Riddler thing. But like my biggest problem with that movie wasn't the Riddler twist. It was just kind of the rest of it was just a little underwhelming.
Agreed.
So I don't know. We shall see. I'm really hoping that when they do the long Halloween, I know that's gonna be a two-parter. I'm hoping it'll be like a one-off. I'm assuming it's gonna have to be because it's supposed to be really, that story is early on in Batman's career. It'd be hard to do it in the New 52 verse timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we agree and also disagree.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you for your comments.
Thank you for your comments. As I've been doing, reading out reviews here, just as a thank you to those that have left those, and as a hopeful encouragement for others to leave more. Also, please do that because we've hit our last written review.
Amazing. We did it.
And this one was a 5-star review from Jackosaurus Rex from May of 2017.
Wow.
Jumping back a bit here. Review, love this, exclamation point, 100, 100, 100.
Awesome. Thank you.
Brief, to the point,
Nailed it.
nice and succinct, loved it, thank you. But no, we do appreciate you guys leaving us reviews. It helps with some sort of metrics. And as I've been saying, if you guys leave a review.
And confidence.
And confidence,
really,
yeah.
I've been walking around LA.
Very shook for both of us these days. So yeah, if you can do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, but why don't we go ahead and go into some bat plugs here? I think you have... We do want to talk about the first episode of Titan Season 2.
Very briefly.
Do you want
Not
to
like
about,
we used to.
Yeah, do we want to talk about that first and then get into the other plugs? Or
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I only have had a chance to watch the first episode of Season 2, which was basically just the finale of Season 1.
Right. I don't understand why they couldn't have given us this before.
I am pretty sure they filmed all of that for Season 1.
Yeah, because they look different
like
in the next episode.
Originally had one more episode scheduled to air and then opted not to do it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like the last season was 11 episodes, whatever, and it was supposed to be 12 or maybe 12 and 13. But yeah, I mean, it's all characters, same look, same continuity. And when we like jump forward a little bit to the new parts where they're in San Francisco, like they do look different enough. You're like, oh, that's because time has passed.
Right.
So I kind of feel like they must have had a reason to hold off.
I just feel like they didn't have a good enough cliffhanger.
I think the bigger cliffhanger would have been all of the team turning, Trigon going in his full form, which, to be fair, looked decent considering the CGI budget is probably not great for the show.
Right.
And then have him walk out and have the world start dying around him. Like, to me, that makes more sense as a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't then have enough story to fill an entire pilot to resolve that. Because even as it is, there's the whole thing about... Because thematically, there's something that makes sense there, right? The whole idea over the course of Season 1, clunky though it was that it was this idea of, like, how far you're willing to go. Is Robin a murderer? It's ridiculous that would be a thing. But still, that was the idea. And
Fuck Batman.
Fuck Batman. So, Trigon's way of turning everyone to evil was to have them kill someone in a dream sequence, right? So that all kind of makes sense. And so we get why Raven would then have to try and like rescue Dick from being corrupted. The weird thing is, once she does that, he doesn't have anything else to do. She just decides to then go out and fight her dad, and then she wipes out Trigon in an instant.
Well, so here's what they should have done. The whole thing is about crossing that line of murder. Have that be Raven's dream sequence of her killing her dad.
Wait, where would you then go with it?
She
Then she would then be part of the darkness at that point, right?
Exactly. She wouldn't do it. She would banish him again.
Oh, okay. She would find a way to banish him.
Yeah.
Because even as it is, maybe I assume he was destroyed. It was really unclear. Because she just walks out there, all of a sudden has full control over her powers, does something, we have no idea what she does, and then he's gone.
Exactly.
And
But now she's got a cool gem in her head.
she's got that cool gem in her head. I did like how they handled that.
Good.
I did like that idea that her heart was broken and Trigon removed it and shaped it in the gem and put it back into her head. I don't know if that's what actually happens in the comics or not, but I like that idea of...
I don't really get the metaphor, but sure.
No, I don't really get it either, but whatever.
It looks cool.
It looks cool, and it was kind of an interesting idea. But, you feel like there were moments that were being built up. Like, all of a sudden, for the first time, Beast Boy can turn into something other than a tiger, right? He turns into a snake. You're like, oh, maybe they're going to comment on that. Like, finally, he has enough control to do something different. Never talk about it.
Nope.
We don't know what Raven does to banish the guy. He just gets banished, and then they're like, all right, well, you four are gonna go off and do your own thing, I guess, and then Donna and Starfire are gonna catch a ride back with Hank and Dawn, and then none of us are Titans again.
Yeah, and now we're back at so. Does the season one, the first episode end with seeing them in their areas?
The first episode ends with Dick, Jason, Raven, and we're gonna call her Raven, not Rachel, and Beast Boy.
Oh, at the tower.
At the tower, and Beast Boy has a moment where like he like visualizes back to when Hawk, Dove, Robin, and Wonder Girl were all in their costumes in Titan's Tower.
Mm-hmm. I think Aqualad was in there too.
No, it's just the four of them.
Okay,
we haven't seen Aqualad yet.
Okay, so basically, the start of episode 2 is Hawk and Dove are in a new place. Starfire and Wonder Girl are in Chicago, and then everyone else is still in the tower.
Okay,
so we're back in 3 storylines again.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into the second episode yet, but
that's fine.
It's kind of weird because the stuff that's in the end of this episode, like the new stuff, is obviously they all have different looks now because they're in San Francisco. They go to Titan's Tower.
Yeah,
we get a brief introduction to Slade, who clearly has some sort of history of the Titans, and he's like been off in exile. They allude to him sort of exile, and he like comes back as the Titans are back.
Yeah,
and on top of that, there's that exchange between Dick and Bruce. Okay, I like Ian Glenn a lot.
Not with an American accent.
Horrible American accent.
Yeah.
And someone else said this, and I forget who. Maybe it was you. Someone pointed out, that guy does not look like Bruce Wayne.
He looks like Alfred.
Yeah.
He's 100% Alfred. Every time I see him, I think it's Alfred.
He would make a great Alfred.
Yeah.
It's just, and I like Ian Glenn a lot. And even when he was cast, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That could make it something interesting. And it just didn't work.
No.
Like, he should still be built like a brick shit house because this is Batman we're talking about. And also, I'm sorry. Bruce Wayne should never be balding. And I'm not trying to make fun of Ian Glenn and the fact that he has some hair loss going on. He's still a very handsome man and he's rocking the slick back look. It looks just great. But like, I just didn't believe that character was Bruce.
Not even because it's also, I don't know if he's like too passive with everything.
He was like too just like,
He's playing the Alfred that we got in animated in BTOS. He's one-off lines. He's a little snarky.
He's kind of bubbly.
Yeah.
He's so like, this is not the Batman that would have been pushing Robin to the point of like breaking bones and like being that aggressive. Like this doesn't feel like any Batman, but certainly not like the really extreme borderline murder Batman that they have been setting up so far in this show. I just didn't buy that moment really at all.
He seems too at peace.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's very much against Batman.
And again, especially this version of Batman. It's like that, it didn't really work.
Maybe that's
for me.
why Dick is so mad, because he's always just so chipper.
He's just too bubbly all the time.
This Batman is just,
they swapped
happy.
roles.
And he's like, how can you be happy? The city's in shambles. Like, we're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
He just like overpowering optimism. The new Batman. No, Dick, come on, just give it another try. You're gonna do great.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Bruce, just shut up.
I felt like if they had given us this at the end of last season, it at least would have felt like a slightly better finale. But this just feels so underwhelming to have waited this long. But I mean, I'm kind of looking at that as like the finale of season 1 and then season 2 going down a very different path.
I still think Trigon should have been a bigger villain.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, I mean, he's a big bad of the DCU, of the DC universe. And they just got rid of him in an episode.
In like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Even.
And so I think if they would have done it where he's banished and not destroyed.
Yeah.
They do play it for like a second in the next episode. But at the end of this episode, you have it where it's her, keep it in dream sequences. It's her dream sequence. She somehow tricks him in the dream sequence where like he touches the mirror again or something and it sucks him back into the portal.
Yeah.
But now he's still in her head. So they go to tower, they see the costumes, they can still do that. And then Raven's sitting in her home in her room and she looks in the mirror and it's not the evil version of herself anymore. Now she just sees her dad.
Oh yeah, like maybe like it's like the 4-eye version of her, maybe that like we get in the cartoon.
Yeah.
That's a good fucking point. I forgot about the fact the version she always sees in the mirror is like the one with like the weird black eye things.
Yeah. So now it's the 4-eyed version, and now, he's gonna find another way out. He's gotten out once.
Yeah.
And so now she kind of has this like stress on her shoulders of like, I have to get better now. I have to overtrain, and I have to fall into the same problems that Dick and Timm did, where they work themselves, to the extent of murder.
Yeah.
Like, I now have to be that person where I'm the only one that can stop my dad.
Yeah.
All of my friends failed. All the people that had been protecting me for 10 episodes failed.
Yeah.
It's on my shoulders and only my shoulders.
Yeah, that would have made it more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then you can start the next season 2 years later. She's a little more chilled out.
Yeah.
She still has that pressure, but now, Garth is there, Dick is there, it's Jason, not Timm. Jason is there. Yeah. And now there's just other things to distract her. There's other people going around. There's other villains.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued to keep watching. Like, I'm starting to see inklings of the stuff I wanted more from the first season.
Mm-hmm. Episode 2 is good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I haven't watched 3. I'll watch 3 after we finish this recording.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, we shall see.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Do you have anything else to plug?
I have one other thing. It's this video that came out this week, and we actually just rewatched it.
Oh, right. I forgot we were talking about this.
So it's a animated short coming out of Into the Spider-Verse, and it's Spider-Ham caught in the ham.
Yes. You literally showed me this minutes ago.
Yes.
It was amazing.
It is really good.
It's 3 minutes. Everyone, if you haven't seen it, pause this, go watch it, unless you're driving.
Yeah.
Pull off
No,
the side of the road.
pause it, watch it in the corner of your eye while driving.
Yeah. You'll get the gist of it.
Actually, no, don't do that. We don't have enough followers to begin with. I don't want to lose any to car accidents.
Right.
It's super fun and really, really funny.
It leans so heavy into the old Looney Tunes Tex Avery comedy.
Yeah.
Which I love.
So, and again, we really do encourage you to go watch it. I wouldn't call these spoilers per se, but I think part of the reason this is so clever is that it has surprises along the way. It does clever things that I want to talk about.
And it's only 3 minutes.
Yeah. And so go watch it because we want to talk about these things. But what I love is that it leans into a lot of those tropes, but turns them on their head a little bit. So like right even from the beginning, Spider-Ham's captured and they do like the yes you can, no I can't sort of thing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But
the rabbit season, duck season.
Exactly. But the twist on this is then like rather than it just swapping dialogue, when they swap dialogue, they also swap places, and all of a sudden the villain's inside the chair. Then Ham walks away.
Is that a James Bond thing? Is that where that started?
Yeah, the laser. Yeah, the laser hitting between the crotch. Sort of thing. Like I love they do that. I love they run out and they do the
doors,
the back and
doors.
forth.
Yeah.
But then like the turn there is that all the different versions of Spider-Ham like show up at once. And they run into a room. It's like, wait, is this the same room we were in before? It's like, oh yeah, we ran out of budget.
Yeah, they pulled the Hanna-Barbera joke.
Yeah. It's just those little clever turns on the things we've seen done before. Like it totally embraces its Looney Tunes Hanna-Barbera roots, but has a clever commentary on it.
And it's still John Mulaney.
It's still John Mulaney, who is so good in that role.
He's so good. He's so fun.
Yeah.
And he brings just the right amount of like overacting to it.
Yes.
Like it still feels so natural for him.
It's just a bit over the top.
Yeah.
And they do kind of like the fourth wall breaking thing while all of a sudden like he's in an internet browser and like the stylist comes in like as an actual animator. Like imagine that was particularly tickling for
yeah,
you.
You saw me giggle when you saw the frames at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because that's Adobe, formerly known as Adobe Flash, now Adobe Animate.
Yeah.
Which is what I assume they did part of that in. So yeah, that was funny. There was a series on YouTube that's been around for over 10 years now called Animator vs. Animation, where it's a guy draws a stick figure, named him the Chosen One, and now he is set to destroy the cursor, his creator.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. They're very, very good. They're very well animated. It brings a lot of those vibes.
Okay.
if you like this short, the end of this short, I recommend going to watch those. There's 5 of them. They range from like 3 minutes to 20 minutes.
Animator versus creator.
I think animator versus animation.
Versus animation. All right, I'll add it into the plugs here.
But yeah, it's a very, very well done short. It's been a while since I've seen a good like 3 minute like comedy thing.
Yeah,
that was very well done. It's
brilliant. But yeah, that's all I got. What are your other plugs?
I started listening to a new book, it's very off brand for me.
Okay, I mean it'd be off brand if you're reading it, but
that's not true. Someone mentioned this at Comic-Con that I should read it. It's called The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein.
The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. All right.
Yes, and it's the story focusing on the bride of Dr. Frankenstein and kind of everything she went through to, one, put up with the crazed doctor, and also because she was born basically, when she was born, her mom passed away in birth, given to a foster care, was beaten horribly, and was sold to the Frankenstein house, where her job was just to basically keep Victor's company. And so all the hoops she had to jump through to stay in that position, kind of be in the power position the whole time, while staying this, it's the 1700s, 1800s. Women don't have any power this time.
Yeah.
So her manipulating the system to both seem innocent while kind of controlling everything underneath. So I'm like 5-6 chapters in right. It's really good. It's really interesting.
Okay. Have you ever read the original Frankenstein? I do want to read it at some point, because I've heard it's obviously it's literally a classic.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that it holds up really well too.
Yeah. And I don't know where that one starts, but this one, it's in this story, it starts with Victor going off to college.
Okay.
And her kind of chasing after him, because now that he's gone, she has no place in the house.
Right.
And she's worried she's going to be cast aside again.
Oh, that's interesting. Have you ever seen Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks movie?
Oh, you're going to hate me, but no, I haven't.
That's
I know
fine.
It's one of your favorites.
I'm not going to judge you for it. It's well worth a watch. We should watch it at some point. It's
been on my list for years.
It's really, really funny. It's really good. That's a cool book, though. All right.
Yeah. Again, it's very off kilter from my normal listening.
Yeah.
There's no superheroes in it.
Are you okay?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm waiting for someone to save the day.
Maybe it'll be Frankenstein's monster.
Maybe it will be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Superman.
Superhero.
It's the Iron Giant.
Oh, Iron Giant.
Yeah, that's my plug for the week.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Look at that.
We did it.
Nice.
That was an hour.
Yeah, pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't much to talk about this week.
I know.
Also, peek behind the curtain. We just recorded another episode before this, and you and I are both.
I can feel my voice going.
I'm so tired. I think I have a headache.
But we're done.
We did it.
Let's do this outro.
That's how much we love you guys.
Yes.
Getting as much content as we can.
So we can take a break.
So I can go on a trip. But thank you for listening. We can be found at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail. If you've been checking out the new season of Titans, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
We are a little behind, so if anything super spoilery happens,
send it to Cameron and not me.
Yes, I will probably be more caught up.
Yes. But yeah, you can find us. I think, did I already say it? Did I already say where? Okay. I cannot tell.
You want to do it again?
No, I'm good. I can't tell what's happening anymore. I'm at Lordifer on Twitter and Instagram, where you can not see me slowly have a mental breakdown. So I'm never posting either of them.
You can find my art, which I've actually started doing again.
You have, yes.
At Cameron.Dexter. And if you want to see my face and my Disney things and my Halloweeny things, you can find that at CamDexter_adventures.
Can we find a different way of phrasing that? Okay. If you want to see Cameron's Halloweeny, go to CameronDexter_adventures.
Cam Dexter.
CamDexter_adventures.
That's me.
God damn it. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.